You are your own worst enemy. You waste precious time dreaming of the future instead of engaging in the present. Since nothing seems urgent to you, you're only half involved in what you do.
Yeah. Well, I like to think of who the human animal is. I like to take this out of the little specific and go into the meta area here. And what it meant to be human. We're a very creative species, right? We have language, we have consciousness, we have immense powers. Those powers developed under the pressures of necessity, of having to get things done, of having to survive in a very brutal, ruthless world where a leopard could pop out tomorrow and eat me, where there were dangers all around, where food was scarce. And under the pressure, we had to think, we had to be creative, we had to be inventive, we had to be strategic. The human brain evolved under immense amounts of pressure, okay? That's how the brain works. And I almost like to think of it in terms of barometric pressure. So in your brain, when you're feeling that barometric pressure, it's like, I got to get this done or I'm going to fail and this project won't happen and people will laugh at me. You work like a fiend. Energy, your whole body responds, right? Your blood gets moving. You accomplish things that would normally take you months. You do it in days because you feel that pressure. You take away that pressure and you don't know what to do. And I've got like 3 years, I could do this or that. Another, you just wander around, you're lost. You have no energy, you have no focus. You know, you're maybe playing video games, maybe you're watching porn, you're kind of distracting yourself in the moment. But it's, but your energy is just being dissipated in like 20 different directions. So your brain needs pressure. It needs constant pressure. And stress and pressure is not a bad thing. We have this thing where we feel like stress is bad. It's bad for you. Bad. You know, you need to relax, man. You need to chill. Stress will kill you. No, being bored will kill you. Not having anything to do will kill you. Is much more dangerous than stress. Yes, you can work too hard. You can work where there's no soul involved. I work like a fiend because I'm writing a book and it's a very hard process for me. And I'm working far too much, but man, I love it. It's fantastic, right? And it could kill me. The stress could kill me, gave me a stroke, but I'd rather die under the stress than be bored and have nothing to do. Okay. So feeling that pressure, it makes your eyes pop open. It makes your brain focus. It makes you alert. It makes you want to live. It makes everything seem exciting to you because you've got to get things done. So I'm writing a book right now. I could take 12 years to write it, but that wouldn't be I wouldn't feel good about it. So I give myself deadlines. I gave myself a deadline of finishing this chapter by July 31st. Here it's August 7th. I haven't finished it, but now I'm working double hard to try and finish it in time. Because if I didn't have a deadline, I would take forever.
Mañana.
Yeah. So create pressure for yourself is a good thing. You know, I gave a talk recently in which I talked about Thomas Edison, the great inventor. And Thomas Edison was a young man. He's in his early 30s. He'd invented the phonograph and a new wave for the telegraph, but he hadn't really had any major inventions. He had started Menlo Park, his industrial park for doing research. We're talking about the 1870s, I believe. But he did something very interesting and very strange. I don't know how conscious it was, but he gave an interview with a newspaper. And he said, I've been working on creating the incandescent light bulb. Now, before that, there was the arc light, which was a light that was really powerful. It used far too much energy. You couldn't use it in the house. The way houses were lit was with gaslight. Gaslight was dangerous. It was explosive. And the companies in America that had a monopoly on it. So the prices, it was very corrupt business. So he goes, I'm working on the incandescent light bulb. The reporter's going, that's interesting. He goes, yeah, I'm close to nailing it. Wow. And he goes, yeah, and in 5 years, I'm going to light the entire city of New York with the incandescent light, with electric light. Whoa, they go crazy. They publish this article, and the stock prices of gas start going down, 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 down. Money flows into his coffers because the cheapness of a light bulb, the profits are just insane. So money is pouring in. He goes back to his Menlo Park where he develops ideas, and his employees who are reading about this go, Mr. Edison, what are you thinking? You had just tinkered with the incandescent light bulb. We're not even near inventing it. We're not even near creating it. And the idea of lighting New York, it's what were you thinking? What were you smoking? The equivalent thereof. And he goes, well, gentlemen, I said it to this major newspaper. We better get to work. We better make it happen. What happened with all the money that came in, he could now hire the people to do it. But the pressure of getting that done in 5 years made him do it in 5 years. It was a monumental work of persistence and discipline and detail. But he had a deadline. He didn't want his reputation. He didn't want to disappoint the public. He had to get it done in 5 years, and he did get it done in 5 years. So he created his own pressure by using the publicity angle.
And people are going to expect it. When's it happening? Has it happened yet? You said it was going to have happened by now? Yeah, I think Naval Ravikant talks about how when he was at one of the first companies he ever worked for in Silicon Valley, and he started telling people, I'm going to start my own startup. And 6 months later, he was still there. And everyone said, well, I thought you were starting your own startup. And that was the push out of the door for him.
Yeah.
He couldn't bear the expectation that he'd put not on himself, only on himself, but also from other people too. So I suppose our need to be socially consistent can be bad when it's maybe derogating your uniqueness, your idiosyncrasies, and your weirdness. But if you can funnel it to motivate you to go forward.
Yeah.
It's the reason why, I don't think that I would be particularly successful being a journalist, for instance, despite the fact that I do 3 episodes a week it's been 4 years that we've done that. It's been 6 years the show's been going. But this is because my need to not look silly in front of other humans and how much I am enthused by the presence of others, even whilst being quite introverted, means that by doing a podcast, I've never not shown up. I've never cancelled because of something that hasn't been, a justifiable reason. Because I don't want to look silly in front of the person I'm sat opposite. If it was me in a blank piece of paper, God, the motivation to do that, 3 times a week, I need to come up with a new column of 1,000 words. Whereas for the person who wants to just write on their own and come up with headlines and stuff, guys, sit down with a person again, have a conversation with them and ask them questions. That's not my sort of thing. So yeah, being able to use the social mores to kind of pull you to where you want to be, to understand again your own fallibility and insecurities, and attach those like a south and a north magnet, sort of use that to pull you along.
Yeah, I always like to riff on what you're saying. I always like to challenge myself. So each book that I do, I'm now on my 8th book, is different from the other one, right? And my books take several years to write. They're not like, I can't put them out in 6 months. Each one is different from the last one. And I'm taking a risk because my readers are expecting Robert to write about strategy and power. Now he's writing about mastery.
Seduction,
yeah. Now he's writing about the sublime. What the hell was his problem? Okay, it's a challenge. And the challenge is good because it gets my energy levels going. But if I took a challenge that was too difficult, so there's a level here. So I could go here and write another 48 Laws of Power would be like this. It would be kind of easy. I could go here and write a book on how to build a skyscraper out of 10, I don't know, whatever. Okay. I could never write it. It's too big of a challenge. Or, the history of all human ideas. Okay. That would be the equivalent there. Okay. No, I kind of go here. It's a challenge. It's not here, boring, 48 Laws of Power Part 2. It's not history of world ideas, 4,000 pages. It's here. It's a little bit above me. It's going to get my energy going, but it's not impossible. And that's the game of life. So if Edison had said, I'm going to light the entire world in 5 years. No way. New York was a pretty hefty
So
lift.
I'm going to light New York in 50 years also.
Yeah, exactly, which is probably more realistic. You know, it was a challenge. It was a pretty big challenge, but it was not an impossible